I see myself as an incurable fatalist. You will remember that in the Yoruba lectures, we were taught about the concept of Ori. Everything in life, we believe that you were predestined, but we were also blind to our destinies. The reason why we all walk and try this and that is because we are not so sure of what our destiny holds. But I believe that circumstances would lead you ultimately to your destiny. I told you earlier that I wanted to be a teacher. But you will not believe it. After my first degree, I was temporarily a teacher at the Oyo State College of Arts and Science, where I had my national service. I was teaching A-level Yoruba. I was just 23 years old, and I was teaching literature in English at the same time. But thereafter, I couldn't sustain it because I couldn't get a job. The military ruined education in Nigeria because they started placing, embargo on appointments and promotions. And so someone like me wanted to be a teacher, couldn't get a job as a teacher. So that was what led me to writing. My best friend, who you know very well, Prince Adedamola Aderemi, was the one who suggested to me that with a first degree in Yoruba and a master's in literature in English, I should be able to write. I never really thought of it. And then I started writing for The Guardian at Full-Time House in Lagos, where they were paying me 25 naira per article. I was writing for the Sunday Tribune. They were not paying me anything. But the moment I started seeing my bylines in the publications, my brains just exploded. Hey, this is a good opportunity. Then I was becoming, popular. And then by the time I needed to go to Lagos in search of a job in 1988, I got one on the spot. So for me, it wasn't as if I deliberately wanted to be a journalist. It was due to lack of job. When people ask me, so what led you to what you're doing? I said joblessness. That's the way I summarize it. So, I was jobless and all my friends had jobs except me. My brother will come to the boys' quarters, will find me at 10 a.m. sleeping, lie down on the floor. Our mattresses were on the floor and he will shake his head. Oh my shame. Oh, it's good to be jobless. And that pushed me. It was like, someone was injecting me, with determination. You have to succeed. You must do something. So by then I got to Lagos. Oh my God. I worked so much that within 2 years, I became the highest paid editor in Nigeria. That is the truth. Because I was afraid to go back to Ife, where my brother would look at me and say, it's good to be jobless. I didn't want to be jobless again.
Thank you very much. Let me digress a little bit, Dele. And let me ask you point blank. Are we one Nigeria?
No, definitely not. Human beings globally are never one. Even in America, there is racism. It's how the leadership manage it that will determine how pronounced it will become. We've never been one in Nigeria. I'm sure you've read and you've heard about the amalgamation that took place in 1914. And so you had different nationalities, ethnic groups forced together. But at some point, we were managing ourselves until that first coup, where some of our leaders were summarily executed. And then the ethnic tension started rising from that moment onwards. Also, Nigeria is not one, but I believe Nigeria can be one if you have the right type of leadership. We lost that opportunity 28 years ago when Chief Abiola won an election that was not in any doubt. It was voted for across the length and breadth of Nigeria, but unfortunately, some people chose to kill that election, and we have suffered and paid dearly for it in the last 28 years. By 2023, it will be exactly 30 years that we lost that opportunity. So I believe and I'm dreaming that someone will emerge who has that template that Abiola had. Until we find that template and we revalidate that example, it may be difficult for Nigeria to unite. In fact, the biggest problem confronting Nigeria today is the lack of unity. And that's why everybody is agitating that they want to go their separate ways.
Thank you. So, what qualities should we look for in a president?
Oh, I mean, for me, the most important, and everybody knows it, today is a man who is completely detribalized, a man who does not care what religion. I'll give you an example, even in my own private capacity as the chairman of the Ovation Media Group, nobody will ask you where you come from. We employ on merit. The editor of Ovation, in fact, I didn't know, except from his name, that he's not Yoruba, but he speaks Yoruba more than a Yoruba. Michael James is from Akwa Ibom. The man from the head, Elezu, Eric, the head of the Boss newspapers, our online newspaper, is an Igbo man. I don't know which state he comes from. Nobody has ever asked him. The man in charge of the television, Ebuwa Agontai, I believe is Benin. Nobody cares where you come from. And that is how a nation should run. I think, again, one of the problems of leadership in Nigeria is that we bring people, most of them have done nothing in their private capacity. They are not accomplished in any personal career. So one godfather or the other, we come, uplift them, and catapult them to positions of power and leadership. A man who has never managed 1 million naira himself suddenly is managing a 50 trillion naira economy. Of course, it's going to go mental. And that's why most people behave. You can see that they are abnormal in their thinking, they are abnormal in their ways, because they just don't know. And according to a quote, a favorite quote from Chinua Achebe, he says, a man who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. So we act foolishly, because if a leader does not know, I always tell people, these days you can buy brains. There are examples of countries where brains have been bought because they don't have the local knowledge of what they require. A good example is United Arab Emirates, especially Dubai. If you go to the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, on their wall, you will see about 55 pictures of engineers that they assembled from all over the world. You have structural engineer, electrical engineer, wind engineer, and so on and so forth. Some from Germany, some from China, some from Japan. So the world is such that you must be open-minded. Even in London, where I'm speaking to you from right now, they at a point, they had to bring in the governor of the Bank of England, was a Canadian. And that's not to say they cannot find economists in England who can do the job, but you just must free your soul. Once upon a time, I told you, my teacher came from Singapore, my principal came from Canada. Is it because Nigeria was good? We didn't have all this, ethnic tension like we do today. So people felt free to come to Nigeria. We had exchange programs. I met Japanese who came to school at the University of Ife. In fact, I read somewhere that even members of the royal family in Saudi Arabia sometimes were flown to UCH Ibadan for treatment. So, and all our teachers, I'm happy that we have Professor Yobanjo, online. I'm sure in their time, they all stood abroad. By the time they finished, everybody wanted to come back home. Unlike now, everybody wants to go away. My brother, a lot of people ask me, why did he come back? A man who had a PhD from Stanford in physics, specializing in material science, came back to Nigeria out of patriotism. He felt Nigeria held out promise and hope for him. But today, the reverse is the case. In fact, most people like him who return to Nigeria are shocked if they are not disappointed and if they are not regretting it. Today, we don't even know names of our ministers, talk less of knowing their pedigree. When we were young, we knew names of commissioners.
Yes.
In fact, under Chibolage in Oyo State in those days, we knew virtually all the commissioners. Till today, you will still remember some outstanding commissioners. Today, you don't know some of the governors. You can imagine I was a presidential candidate, and I can tell you confidently that there are governors whose names today I will have to think before I can remember. There are ministers I don't even know at all. And if you ask me what did they do for a living before becoming ministers, no idea. Today, you have ambassadors in their 80s. And, some of them, even for them to work is a problem. When these are supposed to be the representatives of your country. So our problem is that merit is no longer important. We just do things as if there is no tomorrow, as if we lack ambition. But you need a leader. And it boils down again to who is ready to sacrifice his personal comfort. More often than not, most of our leaders compromise because they want a second term. You need a leader. And I've seen an example in Ghana, and it's my very, very good friend, John Dramani Mahama. When he was president, he used to tell people, he said, I will take difficult decisions. It does not matter if I get voted out. And that's what happened. They voted him out because they felt, this man, what he's doing is making us uncomfortable. For example, one of our biggest problems in Nigeria, electricity. They had the same issue in Ghana. It was called room salt, where lights will go off. But what did they do in Ghana? The president came out and told them the truth. He said, in 24 months, I promise you, I will restore electricity fully. In fact, we'll be able to sell to neighboring countries in Togo, in Burkina Faso, in Cote d'Ivoire. He came out, he told them, he said, but you will have to pay the correct tariffs. And in 18 months, President Mahama was able to inject 824 megawatts into the national grid. Yes. And he was able to fix the problems of distribution, of transmission, all those things that we complain about in Nigeria. He was able to fix it in 18 months. Of course, people paid more for electricity, but they had electricity. I would rather pay more for electricity than buying diesel and polluting the atmosphere. Nobody cares in Nigeria, about the environmental pollution. So, look, there is so much that can be done, but the leader must be ready to sacrifice himself. And if you are a Christian, and I know you are, the Bible is replete with stories of sacrifice. In fact, every time you will hear that Abraham was asked to sacrifice, what could be more difficult than saying, go and sacrifice your son? So it's the same thing with leadership. A leader wants to just enjoy, outlandishly. You want to be a flamboyant, ceremonial emperor. You will never succeed. And that is the problem in Nigeria. In fact, when you see the way our leaders parade themselves, you will know they only came there to enjoy, nothing more, nothing less.